Namaste and welcome to another video. So this time it's like a mini podcast, similar. Okay, so I just wanted to go over all of your queries in the comments and feedbacks regarding our Tibet travel visit. Okay, so I'm just going to go through a rundown of our experience, the itinerary, what you need, and how you plan the Tibet travel, and how we ourselves plan the Tibet travel, and made an incredible journey all the way from Nepal, Kathmandu, to Tibet, the beautiful land of Tibet. Visiting Tibet was in our bucket list for far too long. Tibet is such a mystical and captivating landscape, such a beautiful place, and I'm pretty sure everyone, they have a dream to visit this heavenly land of Tibet. So our first experience of Tibet came by through the travel of Lhasa. So we had a 10-day travel to Lhasa, and that was organized by the Women's Hakka group. So it's actually a group of women in Lalitpur, and it's like a private tour. Okay, it's a private family tour. They don't have any kind of website, no procedure for this, just family members, and we were invited, and there were 40 of us joining this journey. So if you take a look at this video, this is the video, right? So this is where we took on the ride all the way from Kathmandu towards Lhasa. So you can see this is the beautiful town of Hakka, a historic town that is. If you're visiting Nepal, be sure to check out these Darbar Square. These are UNESCO World Heritage Site. Now we went on the journey on a bus. So we had two buses, and we were all together 40 people. Now if you're planning to visit Tibet, the rule is that you need to have a minimum of 4 people. Okay, so that's the rule. So it is a group tour. So if you're visiting alone, single, solo, or if you're visiting on a group, no, it's not possible. You will need to apply for a group visa and a group tour. Okay, so that's what we did, and we took on the 2 buses, and the first day of the journey took us all the way from Kathmandu towards Kirung. It was early in the morning, around 3 in the morning. This was because the road section in Nepal, it's not very good condition. It's only 110 kilometers, but the road is like it's not in a good condition. So it's always preferable to drive early in the morning and take on the journey so that we can cross the border early. This is because the immigration closes at 2 p.m. 2 to 3 p.m. I guess 3 p.m. in Nepal time. So that's almost like 5 p.m. in Tibet. That is China time, the central Beijing time. Geographically, the location is same, but the Tibet, it follows the Beijing time. So that's why we need to be ahead of our time and head on start with the journey. During our Kailash trip, we didn't do that because our itinerary was to stay at Rasuagari. That was a border town in Nepal. So that we took our time, and the next day we just made our way crossing the border. I will go through all of this in this video. All right. Thank you for all the views. We have almost reached 1 million views now. So thank you so much. We are very much grateful for your viewership and taking a look at our video and sharing your experience as well with warm and kind comments. We are very grateful. With this journey, we took on the experience of driving alongside the Nepali road. You can see the roads look something like this. There is actually a highway being constructed now all the way from Kathmandu to the Kirung border. It's a very nice highway. So in the future, the time should not take so long, and the journey should not be so treacherous as well. So anyhow, this is the immigration office in Nepal, and we process the immigration, and then we head into Tibet. See, this is we have entered Tibet now. Okay, so this is the border, the friendship border town, and you can see we are now into Tibet. There is a bridge in there. I can actually show you this in this video. I'm actually making the video for the entire Tibet travel, so the Lhasa as well as Kailash is in the same video. All right, if you run into any questions or any comments, please feel free to let me know, drop in a comment. All right, so you can see the road. This was in the monsoon season, and if you're planning to visit Tibet, the best time is the summer and monsoon, right? So May, June, July, August, September, October, and November onwards it's very cold. So winter is no go. Tibet is very, very cold. It's frigid, Even in the month of summer, it's cold. So I would suggest like the month of summer season is the best season, and the monsoon season as well. It's especially beautiful, and it's greenery all over Tibet. Okay. So anyhow, we went on this journey and took on the four-wheel drive vehicle. So during our Kailash tour, unlike the Lhasa tour, it was a small tour, small group, so about 10 people. So we took on a four-wheel drive vehicle, a jeep, and took on a bumpy ride towards the border. So if you take a look at it, this is the Friendship Bridge. So you can see border between Nepal and China. And once we cross here, we are into China, and it was a rainy day when we did the Kailash Kora trip, but if you take a look at the Lhasa trip, it was quite sunny. So the weather is, you cannot predict the weather. It was a similar month, we did the Tibet Lhasa month of August. This Kailash was done in month of July. So yeah, that's the difference. Once we cross the border, now something we need to keep in mind is that the border crossing, once you cross the border, the immigration in the China section, they check your baggage and luggage is very strict. Okay, so they go through everything. They open your bag and take a look at everything, your photos, your mobile, so they're going to take a look into, open your mobile and go through the gallery and check each and every photo. So what we suggest is make sure you either copy the files, back it up back in home, put it in Google Drive or something like that, back it up, and make sure your mobile is empty when visiting, crossing the border, okay, into the immigration. Now this is because it has to do with Dalai Lama. Okay, so if by any chance they find a picture of Dalai Lama or a book with Dalai Lama, any Tibetan book, so you are in trouble. You cannot cross the border. It is going to be trouble for not just you, but also for the entire group. So we suggest just clear all the photos. Even the photo of Dalai Lama, if you're in Nepal, there are the photos of Dalai Lama in the restaurants. So you may be taking selfie photos, and the immigration office in there, they're gonna pinch in and zoom in, and if they notice Dalai Lama in there, then I'm sorry, you cannot go to Tibet. So that's the rule and regulation there. So make sure to obey it, and make sure you clear everything, all your photos, all your Facebook histories and everything. Now speaking of Facebook, Instagram and YouTube, that's all, it's not going to work once you cross the border. There is a firewall which is going to, you don't have access to all the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, I don't know, all of those stuff. And except TikTok, because I guess TikTok is Chinese, and also WeChat. WeChat is the only communication messenger service that you're going to work, so you may want to install that. Otherwise, what we suggest is you use a VPN. Okay, so you can use a VPN, either it could be a free VPN or a paid VPN, anything, and it's going to work on the other side. It's totally fine. You can even buy VPN in there, in the Tibet side, in the Chinese side. That's totally allowed for tourists. Okay, so that's one thing that needs to be taken into consideration as well. So once you cross the border into Tibet side, you will be greeted by the guides. So in this case, in the Tibet video, you can see, I remember her name is Ramjom, a beautiful guide, very special guide, and we had fond memories of her. And if you take a look at this video, she even sings in Nepali, right? So Ramjom is like welcoming us into Tibet by putting us some kata. That's called kata, and it's like a blessing and like a tasya dele. That's a greeting, right? Like namaste in Nepal, or hello, or warm welcome. So that was a very good welcome, and we were more than excited to begin our journey. And if you take a look at it, this big guy here, his name is Dawa. Okay, so Dawa is the team leader. He's the team organizer. He's the guide, tour guide. So for a team, a group, the rule is that for at least 20 people, we need to have at least one tour guide. And then this other guy is our bus driver, very sweet guy, very polite. Drivers, they were so polite and they drive so safely and carefully. That's one thing that we really enjoyed. So Dawa is a tour guide, tour operator for this tour. And if you're planning to visit Tibet, we highly recommend contacting Dawa, whether it's the Tibet Lhasa or Kailash. Now they don't have any kind of website or any service procedures, but you can directly contact them. I can either call them. I put in the description in here. Dawa Wangdu, you can call this number, and WeChat. If you have WeChat, you can run this and it will work, and then email him about the trip itinerary, details, costing and everything. He's more than happy to answer. Most of the time he's in trip. Okay, he organized the trip himself, so he's a one-man band, but very good at it. Okay, very good at it. We highly recommend him. And once we are greeted and welcome to Tibet, you can see we are taking some photos. These are the two drivers. Okay, they are more than happy to take the photos as well. Very charming guys. We actually danced with them as well. So once we entered Tibet, this is Kirung, and it reminded us of Nepal, basically, because it has the greeneries and the mountains and the valleys that we are more familiar with. And the elevation is also pretty similar to the terrains in the high altitude mountains of Nepal, so around 3,000 meters. So that's fine. So you can see the reason here, this place, I'm going to run through this as well. Okay, same thing happening here. You can see the tour guide is welcoming us. Okay, and during this trip, by the way, you can see the oxygen bottles, right? There is like tons of oxygen. So if you're running into difficult situation, have trouble breathing, have some symptoms of altitude, you can take that. Okay, but I'm going to go through that in detail in a while. So this is the tour guide for the trip. So his name is Kunchuk, and he was the guide for our Kailash tour. Okay, so I will go through this in more detail as well. Now how we book this trip and everything. So that's the procedure. So once you're welcomed into Tibet, you take on the bus ride, you go through the process. There are going to be numerous checkposts. Okay, so be sure to obey the rules and regulation. There is a strict rule of taking photos and videos as well. So do not take photos, videos at the security or checkpost. Make sure you follow the rules and regulation, and your passport will be taken by the tour guide himself, because it's a group visa and he needs to present it to every security checkpost. So that's something that is going to happen throughout the journey. And this is Kerong, and once we enter Kerong, we drop into the hotel, and then we run into having some lunch. Okay, so by the way, if you have taken this look at this video, these guys, you may be wondering what these guys are doing. They're actually making some TikTok videos. These are Nepalese. Okay, so the thing is, the border town of Kerong, there are a lot of Nepalese in there. Okay, so they speak Nepalese fluently, and most of the business in there is also Nepalese. And the food they provide is also Nepali food. So you may be saying, like, I'm having a lot of dal bhat, right? That's traditional Nepali food. Any Nepali food, momo, dumpling, like chow mein, thukpa. So it's a very vibrant, lovely town, and the hotels and the guest houses are more than adequate. Very good, very hygienic, very proper, very clean. So there you can see some Nepali postures as well. Mr. Kunchuk himself. I'm introducing the guide in here. You know what, I'm actually going to show you this on our website. Okay, we have a newly built website, Nepal 360. So if you take a look into the photo and film section, so in this you can click on this image and browse through all the photos. The photos have a unique way of presenting story, right? So here's the hotel owner in Kerong, and they actually remembered us because we went to the same hotel back in the Lhasa tour, and we also went to the same hotel during the Kailash tour. So we had a lovely conversation, had good food. They were more than happy to greet us. So anyways, please feel free to browse through all the photos. Okay, so we have posted them on our website. We are constantly working on updating it, and we will also put some valuable itineraries and stuff that is important for travels as well. So anyways, back to the tour. So we had the food here. So you can see that during the Lhasa tour, we stayed at the Kerong the same day, right? Because we went early in the morning at 3, and we crossed the border and went into the Kerong. But for this trip, the Kailash trip, the itinerary was such that we stayed one night at Nepal side at Rasuagari, and then the next day we crossed the border into Kerong. So you can plan this accordingly. All right. So if you are in a hurry, you can directly go to Kerong, or you can take a time, chill and relax, and stay in the border town in Nepal, and just go to Kerong the next day. Either way, you need to stay in Kerong because it's advisable to stay in here to acclimatize to the change in the altitude, because now you're gaining some altitude as well, almost 2,800 meters. And also it's also good for like sightseeing and like experience Kerong itself, because it's so beautiful. Okay, so once you cross Kerong during the Lhasa tour, so you take on the bus drive. It's the same thing for the Kailash as well. You take on the bus drive. Mostly it's going to be scenic drive throughout Tibet, a long journey. Okay, so sometime you may be crossing like 600 kilometers on a day. So but you will be more than happy to do the bus journey, because the scenery is breathtaking. It's beautiful. Okay, so one more thing that I would like to point out is that there are two ways to travel to Tibet. Okay, one is the flight and one is by road. By road overlanding, it's mostly through Nepal, crossing the border into Tibet. And by plane, by aircraft, you're going to directly take a plane and then just land into Lhasa. So our suggestion is to take the road trip, because the road trip has so much to offer. It's so beautiful. If you take a look into this video we've shared, you can see you can have a mesmerizing view of so many beautiful sights. And there are beautiful picturesque lakes as well, so big lakes. Some of these lakes are so, they're vast. They are like sea, like 70 kilometers long, grasslands with yaks, and occasionally you may be greeted with wild yaks as well. So it's a very beautiful journey. And you can also see Mount Everest from the Tibetan side, Mount Choyu from the Tibetan side, and on the other side it's Nepal. So it's remarkable. The journey itself is beautiful, and you will be having a lot more fun. And that way you're also acclimatizing to the change in the elevation, and you're taking your time, right? You're resting and you're on the vehicle. Most of the time you're driving more than 4,000 meters in elevation. During the Kailash Kora, this is the western side of Tibet. So western Tibet is more high elevation. So on average it's 4,800 meters elevation we're driving. So you can see endless stretches of road, beautiful drive. And you can take your time, stop the bus, take pictures, photos. You can see sheep grazing in the farms. This is all high elevation. This is like you're truly driving on the roof of the wall. You're not going to experience this if you are taking a direct flight. Okay. Also, taking a direct flight can be a trigger for altitude problem as well, because you are directly landing to Lhasa, almost 3,600 meters. So you will need to take a time to rest and acclimatize. But the bus, you're acclimatizing with the chains in a gradual manner. At the same time you're enjoying the scene as well. So we highly recommend you do this by road trip. The rural landscape, the beautiful landscape of Tibet, endless stretches of road. Wow, this is breathtaking. This is beautiful. Now one more thing that I would like to point out, that is the question with food and toilet, right, and sanitation. So basically food, all the way to Lhasa and Kerong at the Sigatse, the food, you can find a lot of Nepalese restaurant, Nepalese style food. You can also have Tibetan food, because there is a lot of Tibetan local restaurants and Tibetan food. Also Chinese food and Tibetan food with Chinese influence as well. And any kind of food. You can have pizza, Western foods. So for food there is no problem. If you're taking the Lhasa route, that is, right? The roads are in Tibet, whether you're going to Lhasa, whether you're going to Kailash, the road is beautiful. There is no problem. Not a single pothole. The roads are very good. It's very good. The infrastructure is very good, very well maintained. Now comes to the side, and I actually wanted to point this out in the video itself, but I didn't did that. But that is the public toilets. Okay, so basically the public toilets in Tibet is no good. I would say it's you need to take on a lot of mask and just enter the toilets. That polluted and that dirty. It might look beautiful from the outside, the toilets, but inside there is no running water, and it's all contaminated. It's all, I would say, unhygienic. It's coming from Nepal. That is where Nepal, every village, every restaurant, every houses, they have clean running water and clean toilet. That's the opposite that we found in the Tibet side, the public toilet, that is. Okay, but in the hotels, that's very good. You get proper running hot and cold water, good toilets, good drinking water, and everything. That's pretty good. So if you're planning this journey, make sure to think about it. For the ladies, make sure to take the sanitary pads, take in some medicines. Okay, like maybe there may be problem with food. drinking water. So some medication is advisable for diarrhea, maybe vomiting, or those kind of things. Or if you're taking any medication for any kind of illness, make sure to take that in advance. And speaking of toilets, because we do not suggest like going into public toilets, you take the outdoor. Okay, the sky, the sky is going to be the roof, and you take the public outdoor, because the Tibet is so vast, so empty. Yeah, that's our suggestion. Anyways, that's a sad truth. Okay. The next thing is, speaking of the medication and everything, I also wanted to point out about the topic of altitude sickness, because we are driving in the high altitude. This is the roof of the wall. Most of the time we are driving 4,600. During the Kailash, it was like 5,600 meters in elevation. Now, how do you acclimatize? Now, it depends on the body, okay, of every person. But what we have found out ourselves, like doing so many treks in Nepal, is that to acclimatize, drink plenty of water. Okay, do not miss any moment to drink water. Take water, like 1 cup of water every 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Try to hydrate yourself as much as possible, because hydrating, taking in a lot of water, will help you to acclimatize better. That's actually the biological process of acclimatization. Okay, so make sure to drink a lot of water. So most of the time what we have found is people avoid drinking water because they think like drinking water, now I need to run and go to toilet, and the public toilets are so bad. Don't do that. Please drink a lot of water, hydrate yourself, take as much fruits as possible. Okay, drink a lot of water, juice. There's a lot of supermarkets out there providing fresh produce, fresh fruits. So try to have fruits. Avoid maybe meat or any kind of spicy food, because during our trip to Kailash, unlike Lhasa, the food was completely different. There was the influence of the food was Tibetan with the influence of Chinese. So the food was very spicy, oily, like a Sichuan style. So you might not be happy with it, right? For it might not be okay for all the taste buds. So what we suggest is take fruits. Okay, go to shopping mall and take loads of grapes and oranges and mangoes, and just take fruits along the drive, along the trek, hike. And that's going to help you, because digestion is also a trigger for altitude sickness, right? So digestion takes a lot of energy. So foods that are easier to digest, that way you can acclimatize easier and faster. And the other thing about acclimatization is breathe. Okay, breathe, well breathing. What I mean to say is take deep breath and exhale. Try to do that as much as possible. And that way your body will cope with the change in the altitude, and you're going to have that good flow of oxygen in your body. Drink a lot of water, and you're going to naturally acclimatize. All right. Now, if you're into a situation where you need to take medication like Dimox or any kind of altitude sickness medication, you can take them, but we would not suggest like taking medications, because taking medication, they have their side effects. And also, the thing is with Dimox and any other medication, the thing is they're going to trigger your body to breathe more, right? So you're breathing in more, and at the same time you need to drink a lot of water. So you're taking medication like Dimox, then you need to make sure you drink double the amount of water so that you can flush out and like rehydrate yourself and acclimatize faster. So that's what the medication is actually doing. So if you're going to avoid the medication, you can do the same thing yourself by consciously breathing faster and drinking a lot of water. That way you're going to acclimatize. Other than that, if you're into like a problem, okay, like mild headache, that's fine. Mild headache is fine. You will have some sleepless night as well. That's the same thing that happened to us during our trip to Kailash. Most of the group members during this trip, they couldn't sleep that night because we are so high in the elevation, 5,200 meters in elevation and sleeping. And this trip was actually a little rust as well. I will go over this in a little while as well. So most of the folks, we couldn't sleep, and that's totally fine. That happens, okay? You will have like 3-4 hours of sleep, and then you wake up suddenly and taking a lot of breath. That's fine. If you are having difficulty eating, okay, I mean you lose your appetite, you have a big headache, okay, you have dizziness, and you're fatigued. You're so fatigued that you're weak and tired. Then you need to take care of yourself, and the good thing is to go back, return the way you came back. During the Kailash tour, there is a vehicle service, Okay, so don't need to worry about it. All these roads you can see is well paved, and this is all vehicle route. Okay, so you can take the vehicle ride. Even the hearse is taking a vehicle ride in this video, you can see. And you can go back to go back to Darchen from Dirapok, and there is hospitals that are going to take care of you. And also the hotels, they are fitted with oxygens and everything. But anyhow, with mild headache and some kind of sleepless night, don't worry about it. Drink water. And if you are like really feeling difficult, then you are always you're next to these things. Okay, this is like a oxygen cylinder. This is like a portable oxygen for you, right? So you can go ahead and take it out. It's sealed actually. You can go ahead and take it out and just take in a sip, 2-3 sip, and then it's going to bring in all the oxygen. That's totally fine. Don't always depend on this. Just take a few sip, and that's going to help you a lot to acclimatize to the change in the weather. You have a lot of these bottles in there, so don't worry about this. Okay, medications and healthcare facility is very good. The other thing I would also like to notify is that Tibet is a dry and harsh region. Okay, you are at a high elevation, high plateau, so the UV rays in there is so harsh. So if you take a look at some of the videos, the selfies, like these videos, my nose was turning red. Okay, and my wife's cheeks were turning red as well. That is because we are at high elevation, right? And this high elevation creates a lot of UVs. So make sure to take a lot of sunscreen, high percentage sunscreen that is, and make sure to apply them. And because Tibet is a desert, the humidity is so low in there that your eyes are going to burn. Okay, so make sure you take in some eye drops as well, like this, and frequently lubricate the eyes so that you don't have red eyes. Okay, that's actually what happened to us during the Lhasa trip. So if you take a look at some of the videos in the Sigatse, I guess, there you go. So this guy, if you take a look at this video, my eyes were actually red. They were burning. We didn't knew what was causing it. Later on, we went to a medical store, and we chit-chatted with him, and he told, like, take some eye drops, and that totally helped it. So make sure you take in the eye drops. Okay, drink a lot of water. That's another reason to drink a lot of water. And now, speaking of communicating in Tibet, majority of people, they will speak Chinese and Tibetan. Okay, English is no, because I would say 0.01% of people only speak English in there, and it's not a major language. So how do you deal with this? Basically, you deal with it by taking a app, maybe like a Microsoft Translator or something like that, which has a simplified translator where you can type in English and it's going to automatically convert to Chinese, simplified or traditional Chinese, and then you can present them and you can ask any question. That way you communicate. And you can also use hand gestures and those things to get the necessary help. The people in Tibet are more than happy to help you. They are so kind, so polite, and they're more than willing to help you. So the translator app is going to help, and kind gesture and a smiley face, right? So anyways, now speaking of Kailash, basically, if you're not in the mood of hiking all the way from Darchen, because Darchen is the stop point of the trip, right, for the vehicle, the road trip, and the hiking starts. Now if you don't want to hike all the way, you can take a horse ride, okay, all the way. Also do the Kora with the horse ride, or take a vehicle, a 4-wheel drive or a jeep vehicle, all the way to Dirapok Monastery, where you can have a close-up view of Mount Kailash, and then return the same way back to Darchen. That is also something that you can do because vehicle is readily available. But horses and porters needs to be organized at Darchen itself. So for example, on the middle of the way, you're like hiking, and now you're crossing the border. You can see one of the guests is riding the horse in here, right? You're crossing the border. You're planning to cross the Dolmala Pass. Now Dolmala Pass is no joke. It's so high. It's 5,700 meters almost in elevation, and you suddenly realize that I cannot do it anymore. I need a horse or I need a porter. Sorry, you cannot do that. This is because everything is organized in Darchen. Okay, so they have a specific rule, unlike Nepal, where you can easily, readily talk in English and communicate. And I need a porter, I need a guide. Okay, I am here, sir. That's not going to happen. You pay the money at Darchen and then do the full Kora with that. Okay, if you're in top of Dolmala and you are running out of your breath, you need help, you need a porter or you need a hearse, that's not possible because it needs to be organized from Darjeeling. So you need to think beforehand for this, okay? And that's not the situation in Nepal, okay? If you've done treks in hikes in Nepal, then readily available porters, guides, everyone, and everyone speaks in English fluently. Taxi driver, restaurant owners, hotel owners, everyone is going to speak in English, so it's going to be easier for you. That's something that I wanted to point out. The next thing that I also wanted to point out is that during the Kora, you're gaining elevation, and I would say that if you are physically ready and mentally prepared, you can do it, right? This is because most of the treks and hikes that we've done in Nepal is more treacherous, more difficult. Because in Nepal, the landscape is such that you're climbing a mountain, you're going down a valley alongside the river, then climbing a mountain, going down a valley alongside. That's tiring. That can take a lot of energy out of you. And you're walking like 9 hours, 10 hours a day. Mostly the itinerary in Nepal is that way. But Kailash tour, the Kora, is quite different. This is because you're already at high elevation, almost 5,000 meters. You just need to cross 5,600 meters over the Dolmala Pass and then go to the Jitulpok monastery, right? So that's basically you're going steadily up the hill, slow uphill, very gentle uphill, and then you climb a mountain, and then you go down, and then gently you go into the valley and go to Jitulpok. So that's so, not so tiring. But what makes it tiring is the altitude, because we are at so high elevation. So it's advisable to take it slowly, drink a lot of water. If you need oxygen, you can take some sip of oxygen, take it along, and just go through, because the guide will provide you with these oxygens and you can readily buy them as well if you're in need. Just take it slow, you can do it, okay? The Tibetans, on the other hand, they are built like a tank, right? They're born in this harsh terrain. They can handle it. You will be seeing they're singing along the journey and running and hiking. You won't be able to do that because we are from sea level, right? Even Kathmandu is 1400 meters above sea level. It's above sea level, a lot higher than above sea level, but even that is difficult. And that is the reason you take it slow, okay? The journey is so beautiful, so relaxing. Take a moment, enjoy the view. You will have the blessing. You have the beautiful view of the Mount Kailash along the way. We were so blessed to have a beautiful clear weather all along, okay? And that was really captivating. And along the way you will also be seeing a lot of people, so here you can see some Tibetans singing as well. We were running out of breath, but anyways, so you can see here she's prostrating along the way, and that's going to motivate us. That motivates us hugely, because she's prostrating. It's this difficult terrain and we're just hiking, and that gives us a lot of motivation and a boost in our enthusiasm and energy. And this location, this Dolmala Pass, the Kailash, is a spiritual heaven. It's beautiful location, and it's automatically going to induce you into a positive realm, a positive energy. We really experience that, and that's going to help you a lot. You capture all those positive energy along the way, the beautiful people, the beautiful Tibetan people saying Tasidele along the way, and the blessing from the Kailash and the Dolmala is going to help you. So you are physically and mentally prepared, and you can do this Kailash Kora. And we are more than excited to do this again and again. We would love to do the inner Kora as well in the future, and touch the base of Mount Kailash. So actually, we tried to touch the base of Mount Kailash in this video. We went all the way to the base. So we were so close, only 100 meters, I guess, to the base of Mount Kailash, and we didn't went to touch the Kailash. This is because the sun was quite harsh, right? And the ice was melting and the rocks were falling, and our guide was telling us it's no good, it's dangerous, please let's not go and touch the Kailash, just have the blessing from here. We have a beautiful picturesque view. We are more than happy, and we just returned back. So if you are visiting Kailash, you take a look into these ice rock falls, listen to your guide, and if everything is good, you can go ahead and touch Mount Kailash, okay? And speaking of safety and security, there is no helicopter system or rescue in here, unlike Nepal, okay? In Nepal you have helicopters like taxi, right? You can have them as safety. All you have here is you yourself and the motivation that the guide provides you. The guide is right beside you, so that he's going to help you along the way. So listen to him and make the journey. So that's the story. And nearby Kailash, there is a monastery where Yogi Milarepa meditated. And from here, the view of Kailash was wow. That was truly beautiful, so beautiful. The just overall journey was mesmerizing. Something that was quite different than Lhasa. Okay, so Lhasa tour was more luxurious. Okay, so the hotels, the rooms, everything was very good. But during the Kailash, till Darchen, the room is good. You are even provided with oxygens in here. You have good food as well, Wi-Fi, everything. But once you start your hike all the way, now this is Yamadwar, right? You go ahead, this is the beginning of the hike, and once you cross this, you are now in a very remote location. You do have cellular network in there, like the Chinese network, and internet will work, but other than that, everything is remote. So what I mean to say is you are just blessed with beautiful landscape. You are immersed totally into this beautiful landscape, right? So the rivers flowing, the yaks grazing, and that's pretty much it. No more modern amenities and facilities and luxury. That's one thing that is quite life-changing during any trek if you do. So here you can see some people prostrating as well. And there are some occasional tea houses in there along the way. So the first day of our journey from Darchen to Dirapok was a very gentle hike. It was about 10 kilometers of hike, just a slight elevation gain, and at the very end of this journey, we crossed a small pass, small hike, about 200 meters to reach to valley of Dirapok. And there are occasional tea houses right here where food is provided, just a simple food. So you order from the menu by taking a look at the images, and that's pretty much it. When you reach the Dirapok, this is the guest house that we stayed in. There are only two guest houses in there, one above height, a little high elevation, and this one a little low elevation. There are two guest houses, and the guest houses are very, very simple. Okay, so most of the time you will be staying in groups of like 4 people, group of 4, or if you need an extra room, you might need to pay extra for the extra room and extra service. That's pretty much it. There is no attached bathroom, and there is only public toilets outdoor, and like I said, the public toilets are not good, so it's better the great outdoor out there, right? And the food is also very simple, and don't expect to have like tasty foods in there. The foods are very simple. It's just a remote location, so you're going to have just noodles and porridge, rice porridge, and that's pretty much it. And like I said, if you're not into that, you can take in some fruits as well, all the way from Darchen. You can buy them from the supermarkets and take them all the way through the journey. Drink water, drink holy water from Kailash. That's going to bless you as well as rejuvenate you, right? So we drank a lot of Kailash water as well. And the food, like I said, the food and the public toilet it's substandard. Okay, so take care of yourself and take some food, dry fruit maybe, or fruits, and that's totally fine. And that's the only thing about Kailash Kora. Other than that, the scenery, the landscape, the beauty, the nature, the people, wow. That's going to be a memory for a lifetime. Okay, and the next day you can actually go ahead and go to touch the Kailash base, the base of Mount Kailash. Try to touch the Kailash like I've shown you, and then explore the nearby monasteries and explore the region. Now during this trek, the only difficult portion is the Dolmala, right? Because that's the longest part of the journey, almost 25 kilometers. So second day of the trek, or in our case it was third day of the trek, because the second day we went to touch the Mount Kailash foot. So third day is the longest, 25 kilometers of journey, and you're climbing a lot of elevation. But don't worry, take it slow. You can make it, you can do it within 9, 10, 11, 12 hours. Okay, so drink a lot of water and be happy, be in the moment, enjoy, relax, don't worry about anything. You're being blessed, and you have happy, charming, smiling Tibetans, people that are going to help you, guide you, say Tasidele along the way, and that makes so much happy. That makes a big difference. Once you cross the Dolmala Pass, then you might be thinking like, oh, my journey is done, I'm complete, I've done it. No, you're wrong, because you still need to hike another 15 kilometers. But luckily the hike is all downhill, so you're going to hike all the way down, and it's a gentle downhill hike. Yeah, occasionally you have some tea houses where you can have some nice food, good food as well. And then alongside the river, You might be greeted by some wild animals as well, right? So here, I was actually feeding some wild animals here. So yeah, that's something that the Tibetans also like to do, feeding kapsi, and that's pretty much it. You enjoy the journey, relax, and then you reach this area called Jutulpuk. Stay in there overnight, and then your journey is done. You return back the next day, hike all the way, only 10 kilometers of hike, and then go back to the city of Darchen. Okay, so you can see these people are on the final end of their journey, prostrating, and this area, this place, this marks the end of Kora. All right, so you've done it. Bravo, congratulations. For our case, because it was the first time, and also we kept on marching, and we had the we can see Darchen right there. So we walked all the way from that reason to the hotel that we stayed in, on not knowing that the trek has ended. So, but anyways, that was quite an experience. We had quite a fun, and then from there all the way you take the bus journey back to Kathmandu. That's how you ended. Now, overall speaking, the experience that we had with the Lhasa and the Kailash was very beautiful. The Kailash was very spiritual hike, unlike anything that we have done in Nepal. The Tibet Lhasa, we were mesmerized by the beauty of the landscape. At the same time, we were awestruck by the huge monasteries, the beautiful artworks, the culture, the people, So if you're looking out for art, culture, the history of Tibet, go to Lhasa. Okay, Lhasa is a beautiful place. And then if you want to do the spiritual walk, spiritual hike, a little more nomadic experience, wilderness experience, and be blessed by Holy Mount Kailash, Mansarovar, then go to Kailash. Okay, so speaking of Mansarovar, this is like the lake Mansarovar. It's a pristine, beautiful. It's like a mirror. It's like the sky is being reflected right off that lake. Beautiful, pristine lake. And right alongside this lake, the other side is another lake called Rachastal. We couldn't experience that. Maybe next time we're visiting Kailash, we will go to Rachastal. The significance is that the water that feed into both of these lakes comes from Kailash, Mount Kailash. Okay, and one of these lakes, that is the Mansarovar lake, it's holy and its water is blessed. Yeah, you can see a lot of wild animals and even fish swimming in the lake, right? And birds as well. But unlike that, the other lake, that is the Rachastal. So if you take a look at this image, you can see this that lake in there. That is Rachastal. Okay, Rachas is demon lake. Why is it called demon lake? That's because it's a saline lake, and it's the water in there, it's not drinkable. Okay, there is no living thing in there, no fish, no birds, no animal, no insect, no nothing. So that's quite a significance, right? So you have good and bad at the same time. But unfortunately, we couldn't go to Rachastal. Maybe next time during the next Kailash trip. So you can feel free to take a look into these images as well. Now that's pretty much it with the rundown of the journey. Now how do you organize this? So feel free to contact Mr. Dawa Wangdu, a very good guide. He has tremendous knowledge of the culture, the people of Tibet, the landscape, the rural, the viewpoints and everything. He's going to help you, guide you, stop at every moment wherever you want to stop, enjoy the view, and he's going to be more than happy to explain the culture and the history and the significance of the area. That's what we need from a tour guide, and a very helpful guide as well. So that's why we have recommended Dawa Wangdu. So you can contact him through this, and you can also contact Prakash Thakwa. He's a good friend, a brother of ours, and you can contact by calling him, WeChat, WhatsApp, Viber, emailing him to know the details about how to travel to Kailash or Lhasa. Now, one thing that I would like to mention is that when doing this trip, I know that most of the viewers are from India for the Kailash tour, and we have received a lot of requests like, can Indians visit Kailash? Can Indian go to Kailash? But unfortunately and sadly, I think the permits are not given for the Kailash for the Indian citizens. If you are Indians residing in some other countries, like US or other countries, other than India, then the permit is given. Because in our group itself, there were like 4 or 5 Indian members, all of them from US, Canada, New Zealand. But sadly, that's the truth. Maybe, hopefully, we hope that it changes, and most of the many Indian folks who have a long-lasting dream of visiting Kailash, it will come true. One last thing that I would like to do is during this trip, we actually, after doing the Lhasa trip, we had a plan to do the Kailash trip, right? So the Lhasa trip was organized as a group tour, as a private group tour, as a private family tour, right? But we wanted to do a Kailash tour, and we contacted, but we didn't have enough group to do the Kailash tour. Only two of us, that is me and my wife, was excited to do the trip, but like I said, we need 4 members to visit the tour. So what I did is I naturally did some Google searching, and basically the thing is that we are quite familiar with this guy. Here you can see Jamyang from Tibet Vista. He's a good friend, a charming guy. We met him actually in Tibet, Lhasa, and we actually went through his organization, his tour for this trip, because we didn't have enough group to do this trip. And we were searching in the internet and contacted Tibet Vista. Okay, you can see tibettravel.org. They also go through a good rundown of itinerary and everything that is needed to do this trip. And we chose this trip, the 10 days pilgrimage tour. You can see, you can go ahead and click that in. And they go through all the itineraries, the detailed itineraries, the cost and everything. You can see. I think the cost is quite subjective because it depends on the weather. We paid around $2,000 in total, I guess, including everything. So you can see about $1,750. So this price changes based on the weather and season as well, and the number of group members that you have. So when we did, we went with a group of 10. So we followed this route and went through Tibet Travel. All right. So if you are planning for this, please feel free to take a look into Tibet Travel as well. They go through a lot of itineraries and details. In fact, the guy Jamyang, who we met in Lhasa, he's a great influencer, right? He's probably one of the reasons why we visited Kailash and Lhasa at the first place, because he's showing us so much of the beautiful side of Tibet, and everybody is excited to go to Tibet Vista thanks to this guy. The thing is, we booked the 10-day tour, and in our opinion, 10 days is quite tight. Okay, I would suggest like at least 12 days, because that way you can have some time to spend at Darchen to explore the Lake Rajasthan as well, and also have time to acclimatize one more day, one more night, so that you are well prepared for the Kailash Kora. Because what we noticed is during this trip, the 10 days trip, that we were quite rushed, right? And that was one of the reasons that 2 of our group members, they had altitude sickness and they had to go down into hospital, and that was a problem. And out of 10, I think only 6 of us made the Kora tour, and out of 10, only 3 of us went to the top and tried to touch the base of Mount Kailash. So altitude can be a significant factor in that. So be sure to either have 12 days itinerary, or if better, plan it to 15 or even longer days, because that way you can visit Lhasa as well. You know, make your itinerary so you go to Lhasa and then go from Lhasa all the way to Kailash, and that way your body is more than prepared to do this trek. Because like I said, the hike is not that difficult. It's so gentle uphill and hike down, unlike the hikes in Nepal, which is like, oh, that's so tough and treacherous. But Tibet is so much, you know, like the landscape and the beauty, it's unlike anything in the world. That's something that is going to keep you going throughout this trek. So if anyone is planning, that's our suggestion. Go through these websites, check it out. We will also post this in our website as well, make a better itinerary. And if you want a more intimate experience of Tibet, Lhasa, the people of Lhasa, what I mean to say is more one-on-one experience, because Dawa Wangdu is a very friendly guy. He runs the entire stuff and he knows what to do, and the company, he owns it. So, and also he does the trip himself, so he's more than excited and willing to help you with this. Unlike the Tibet Vista, I would say Tibet Vista is more like an organization. So it's more like you have this day, you do this, you do this. The itineraries are all stacked in. You cannot change the itinerary. You cannot like tell them like, I would like to go and visit like maybe Rajasthan. Can you do that? No, sorry, it's not included in the itineraries. That's one thing that we found out. So if you are going for a more personalized experience, then please feel free to contact Dawa. And I would say that the price is quite different as well, because last time when we did the Lhasa tour, we paid around 1200 US dollar, only 1200 US dollar, and it included all 10 days of travel, and which included fooding, lodging, everything. Fooding, by fooding I mean breakfast, lunch, dinner, all 3 proper meals. Okay, but if you're going to do it with Tibet Vista, there is a condition. Okay, the hotels and the breakfast is included, but the lunch and dinner, it's you need to pay for that, and that's something that you need to consider as well. Okay, that's something that I wanted to point out as well. Other than that, please, I'm more than happy, because Jamyang has been a great guy. He is a great influencer, and thanks to him, we are visiting this trip. Unfortunately, Jamyang was not the tour guide for this operation. If that had happened, we would have been so much happier. But anyways, that's the story for another day. That's pretty much it. That's all I guess I had to say. Almost 1 hour of lecture. So that's like a podcast. I think Nepal 360 podcast. So anyways, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing to our channel, watching our videos, posting kind comments, beautiful comments. We have received a lot of blessings from you guys. Thank you so much. We're so blessed, and we're so happy. Thank you so much for your kind comments and views. And we highly recommend you guys to try out Tibet, visit Lhasa, visit Kailash. We are so excited to visit Tibet again and again. It's just so beautiful. Tibet has so much to offer, right? The central Tibet, the eastern Tibet, the western Tibet, the northern Tibet, so much to offer. So Everest Base Camp on the Tibetan side as well. So all of those are in our bucket list, the inner Kora as well. But anyways, that's our side. What we want you to do is, if this video is helpful for you, feel free to hit that thumbs up, subscribe, go through our website, and plan your itinerary accordingly. I hope this video was helpful to you. Okay, and I hope that you visit this heavenly land of Tibet. And thank you for tuning into Nepal 360. Bye for now. See you in the next one. Namaste.